Thank you.
And every story can change the world. Together we are Global Speakers Talk.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Mark Weithorn. I'm the founder and CEO of DPI Showcase Websites. We are a 22-year-old tech company that creates websites for real estate agents and brokers across the United States and Canada, and now even in Puerto Rico. So today's topic is AI going to replace me? Well, before I answer that, let me go into a little history. So I have been in marketing for over 30 years. I'm a graduate from the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City with a degree in marketing and commercial photography. And my life has been one of knowing when technology changes and how to evolve as technology changes. For example, at 22 years old, I was a commercial photographer, and I was traveling the world with my Nikon camera, taking pictures of land developments and warehouses and factories and all sorts of stuff in order to do these commercials or corporate slideshows for all these events and trade shows and things. And that was fun. But then what happened was video became in vogue. People wanted video, they didn't want slides. So the problem I had, well, these video cameras weighed about 30 or 40 pounds. They were massive. And being a skinny guy, I couldn't carry one of these. I would have been at the chiropractors every morning. So I had to learn how to pivot as technology changed. So I opened an ad agency and specialized in doing retail advertising. I wrote radio jingles, like I wrote a funny jingle. It was a rap song for a suntan lotion. It was just another hot, hot day, and the sun was giving out lots of rays, yada, yada, yada. And we did newspaper ads, and we did television commercials, and we were having a lot of fun. One of my clients was a cellular telephone distributor. And that's back in the day when your cellular telephones were mounted in your car. And he had to have an ad in the Miami Herald Business Monday section to make his week. If his ad was good, he was golden for the week. And the deadline for getting that ad to the Herald was Friday morning, like 8 a.m. Invariably on Thursday, he would give me all the information for the ad. So using the old method of creating ads with typesetting and photostats and gluing and all this stuff was not acceptable. Desktop publishing came in vogue. And I was one of the first ones on the block to get desktop publishing, Windows 1.0. There was a program called PageMaker 1.0. And I had a laser printer, 300 DPI laser printer, which was horrible. But I was able to put the ad together and get it to the Herald on Friday mornings. So we were good. Unfortunately, a recession came along and I had to close up that ad agency, and I went to work for another ad agency, and the owner of that company was a dinosaur. He basically was unwilling to upgrade or to change with technology. He had a typesetting machine, which he was paying off. I don't know if he had a 4 or 5 year contract on that, but he was paying it off and he was not going to change. I said, dude, give me $500 to upgrade one of our computers to start using desktop publishing. No. And unfortunately, within 2 phone calls one October, he lost about 75% of his business because he refused to change. So I ended up starting another ad agency with 2 brothers, 2 creative brothers, and they embraced desktop publishing. We had Windows, we had Photoshop 1.0. We had a 1.5 gigabyte hard drive, which cost us $1,500, okay? And we created some of the most amazing things out there using new technology. We embraced it and we moved forward. Every time there was something new, we came out with it. And it worked. And we started focusing in on working with manufacturers. They would have a product, they would need it to bring it to market, and we would do that for them. For example, one of my clients, He manufactured wrist braces and knee braces and elbow braces, real mundane stuff. And he couldn't get into the large pharmacies because the big companies like Futuro had a lock in there. So he wanted to go after all the independent pharmacies. So we came out with a packaging. It was blue and gray with the medical emblem on it, and we called it hospital grade. And this was a home run. He went to town with this. It was great. So we were having fun. And then all of a sudden, technology changed again. And we needed to change with technology. Back then, we were doing a lot of printed materials, and you did the design, and then you had to do photo separations, film for the printing presses, CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And then there was the printing. So it was 3 different profit margins. Then they came out with direct to plate. They used lasers to etch the printing plates. So we didn't need to do the film. So now about 1/3 of our profit disappeared. And then the printing companies were going direct to our clients and going, oh, have Mark's company design it, and we'll give you a discount on the printing. So we opened a printing company called DPI, Digital Printers International, and we bought the latest technology printing press. It was direct to plate. It was meant for short runs, which was 1,000, maybe 2,000 pieces, and it was great. And we're able to open new markets. We grew vertically. And what we did was we adapted to new technology. Well, we specialized in working with realtors. They had to do mailings, postcards, and we did the design, the printing, the mailing, everything for them. And it was going great. Now, I always knew that printing was going to be a short run business. I always knew that, eventually printing would kind of like phase out because of technology. So one day at a trade show, I was standing there with my salesman, Al, and this young guy walks by and goes, I have this website product for realtors. And I was like, wow. So I left Al in the booth by himself, and I sat down with this young guy, and we looked at his product, and then we spent 6 months retooling it. I had to learn a new technology because that was the future. And as a marketing person, he was a programmer, I was a marketing person. We retooled the whole thing in order to make it marketable and viable. And then we spent the next 2 years traveling the country trying to grow this business. So it was great. It was another time when things changed and I had to learn a new technology. Well, he went a separate way because that's what programmers do, and everything was fine. We were friends, so we ran into each other a few years ago and hugged and talked and all that. But about 8 years ago, I had to redo our software from scratch. Why? Because technology changed. Everything was had to be working on your smartphones. People had smartphones in their hand. They wanted to go online. Everything needed to be responsive and be able to work on smartphones. And what we did was we spent about 9 months retooling our software from scratch in order to make it work on the smartphone. And then we spent another 6 months taking all of our clients and taking them out of the old system and putting them into the new system. And so far, we created a system that has, knock on wood, it's been great and it's been lasted. But naturally, what we're doing is we are also upgrading. So that brings us back to our topic. Will AI replace me? So before I go into that, let's go into one thing. Simply put, the purpose of AI is to optimize things that are repetitive in nature. Things that you do on a regular basis, it's going to help you do it faster and better. That's what AI does. And, it's not that hard to use. It really isn't. Now, there are about 15 different GPT programs out there. We know we all heard about ChatGPT, right? Well, GPT is the acronym that's used for the program for AI. So there's about 15 different AI programs out there. We have ChatGPT, we have Claude, we have Gemini from Google, and then I know there's Gronk, and there's a whole bunch of other ones out there. So the question becomes, which AI program should you use? It's a personal choice. Each AI program has their own characteristics. They all operate in different ways and they all have different purposes. For example, my wife is an accountant and she likes Claude. It just works best for her. It has the algorithms to do the computations for taxes and reports and things like that that accountants use. And she likes that. A lot of people like ChatGPT. Personally, I've been working with realtors and I like Google's Gemini. I like the way it creates flyers. I like the way that it takes the information and digests it. It's a really easy program to use. So the first thing you need to do is you need to decide which GPT program you want to use. Tool around with them. Try one out, try another one out, and see which one works best for you. And then you'll decide where you're going and what you're going to use. The next thing you need to learn is you need to learn how to use prompts. Prompts are the commands that you type into the GPT program in order to produce whatever you need. For example, some prompts are simple. They're 1 or 2 lines and they're easy. Other prompts are more complex depending on the type of report that you want to produce. So what you have to do is, just like we had to learn new systems and new programs, like when Excel came out, and you had to learn how to create an Excel spreadsheet instead of using ledgers and stuff like that. It took a little time to learn that. Here we have to learn prompts. Your resource for learning prompts is right at your fingertips. The first thing you need to do is go to YouTube. I do this all the time, and type in prompts for, and then type in your industry. And then start copying some of those prompts and tool around with it. Try it out, see what it comes up with. And then just experiment. You've got to keep trying to use this new program, this new language. You have to learn this, because if you don't learn this, you're going to basically become obsolete. It's just a new technology. It really is not hard to use. You just need to go and apply yourself. For example, I teach a class on this. It's called the ABCs of AI. I teach it to realtors, and the realtors are like, deer in the headlights. They're scared. Oh my God, what is going on here? And we go over simple prompts like creating an image or altering an image or writing a description or creating a flyer or doing research into neighborhoods about walk scores and inventory levels and things like that. And I teach them step by step how to do these things. And when they're done with my class, they're like, wow, this really is easy. So AI is not going to replace people. What it is, it's another tool to make people more efficient. Instead of taking a week to create a report, it will take a day. I was at a Google conference, and they showed a video clip of Heinz ketchup being poured on French fries. And they said normally something like this would take a week. Here it took 8 hours to produce. So it's going to make our lives simpler. It's going to be another tool that's out there in order to give us better productivity. If you're a young person, engage yourself in AI. That's all you want to do is learn AI, go to YouTube, find prompts, test out the different GPT models. If you're a senior professional, instead of watching TV at night, go to YouTube, find prompts, test out the different GPT models, and you're going to find yourself more productive at work. It's not going to replace us. It's going to enhance us. That is the goal of GPT. That is the goal of AI, to make us more efficient. Well, I hope I taught you something today, and I hope I diffuse some of the fear about this. Evolution is part of life. The only constant is change. And this is one of those significant changes that are out there. And you just need to embrace it. Don't be afraid of it. And just test it out. Thank you, everyone. I hope I taught you something today. Thank you.
Together we are global speakers talk.